We live in the hood, live where the neighborhood ain't good, and the highest crime on the rise we hear is gentrification. A word never quite mentioned throughout our education, so when it comes, it almost reaches welcoming arms of Starbucks. I fucking love Starbucks. We almost invite the high-priced salons that replace our Black and Asian-owned, Black and Asian-ran beauty shops. The Chipotles that are reconstructed out of our JJ Fish and Chickens, our Mama and Papa Dinings that become multi-million-dollar lucrative household name drive-thrus, and we think this money comes to us because gentrification almost rhymes with renovation, and we got houses that are falling apart. So yes, bring in the jobs, bring in that $7.25 an hour that we can barely live off of, that you won't even hire us for, to let us make. Refuse us livable wage raises because we are overqualified and being underqualified, because some of us have had to check that box beside what should say, have you ever been convicted of a felony by a system designed to criminalize your color? Because this money goes into the architectural designs of your franchises and property values instead of our schools, instead of the programs to reform standardized state tests set to keep us weeded out, to stay just below that provincial poverty line you pretend isn't there, that proverbial poverty line that you pretend you don't keep in place. You use words like opportunity when you come like Spanish soldiers and poor English settlers to colonize our Black, brown, and loud, our Black, brown, and proud, heightening the stigma of lowering the bar to realistic and attainable levels. You bring movie theaters and gastropubs, lay cement beside canals and call it belt lines. You buy us out of our homes and build townhouses, then raise the rent in communities that we can barely afford to live in anymore. Your presence enforces multiplied police patrol cars waiting for our 12-year-old children to play with toy guns in parks, waiting for the sterling shine of our hood CD salesmen to step foot into mini-mart-like parking lots, because blue lives ain't black lives, and brown is closer to white, but how could you notice? You're colorblind. You erase our Dominican, Indian, Black-owned corner stores and bodegas and then arrest us on those same corners for selling Lucy's. Let me slow down because I feel like I can't breathe. You invite more erasers with your goat farms and art lofts, your ironically predominantly white culture communes, and you and your prices keep rubbing and rubbing, robbing and rubbing until our color looks displaced, until you get to use words like integration, diverse, and then you don't let your children play with ours. Your hipster barbershops, beards, bicycles, and Beatles eventually reroute our buses, and these new schedules don't feel they need to run like they used to, but we still gotta get to work, we've still gotta get to school, we've still gotta get groceries, because remember, you turned our corner stores into Chevrons and Shells, ironically placed 4 competitive gas stations in a 2-block radius, and most of us don't have fucking cars. You took our dance halls, called them bars, appropriate our music, and then cite us for our speakers out of windows, arrest our super predators for that endo, even though this is where your teenagers come to find it. Blame our lyrics for your gun violence in properly funded schools that are filled with every class, curriculum, and after-school activity under the sun except thorough counseling, because we all know Black women and brown males are angry, and your young adults are mentally ill, and it gets better ain't so all-inclusive. You come and condemn us colored for being colored and preach that you are colorblind, but from your couches and peer groups you colorbind us into appropriative words like ethnic, ghetto. You have destroyed Brooklyn, Oakland, and Atlanta, the only place in Georgia where you can afford yourselves the luxury and not so anything else but white privilege of forgetting that you are still in the South, and the only modern thing about you is that you are progressively silent, claiming Robin Hood while you are Robin Hoods of our culture, pushing us deeper into college parks and Vallejos where our workplace criminalizes, ostracizes, and unprofessionalizes our hair and vernacular, our nails, bantu knots, baby hair, and locks, our Virgin de Guadalupe candles and tattoos above the collar and below the sleeves of our employee uniforms that you so graciously allowed us to pay for ourselves. Apparently our vibrancy is only acceptable through a white lens. Your Bring It Ons, Step It Ups, Frida, Stand and Delivers, Pocahontas, Save the Last Dances, and you're betting it will be the last dance that will clear out like roaches so your mayors can come in and call it cleaning up the city with more cops, with more hours, more hard for the sugar media stroke post-traumatic stress disorders with badges, aiming at men who look like my brothers, women who bear black skin like my sister's children, who look like our children, fear funded by the same city stipend that could afford us healthcare programs, but instead arrive with your mass incarceration agendas, lining us up for more lineups, lined up to keep our people in cages, so you can attribute absent fathers to Black and brown dysfunction, because meeting an officer's daily count and filling up your county cells makes noise like keeping us quiet, keeping us colored, and keeping us quiet, keeping us quiet, and keeping us in line with your welfare attempts of tempting us into general general assistance that is always too fucking general to assist. You convince us that black-on-black crime really exists, and then have Fox News explain to white America that if we knew better, we'd do better. Our community gardens have been turned into your dog parks, and your dogs bark at us from the back of your police cars as if they were trained to recognize us. You minimize us exercising our First Amendment right, disparaging our political congregations, and no matter how much land you've taken, you still want more. And we are running out of space to give. We are running out of space to live. You gave us hard rock and cement, ghettos, barrios, and reservations. Watched us rebuild them, breathe them to life, and take them back and call them urban metropolis. You televised revisions of renditions of the American dream, so even we get offended by posters that read "Buy Black, Support Black," tricking us into forgetting that we cannot even afford to be American anymore. Hippie liberal trends push for Trader Joe's where our street libraries used to be, but they do not accept the graciousness of your welfare and we wish we could say you could keep this shit, but some of us sustain ourselves on the crumbs you leave behind. Your organic ain't our organic. We live in the hood, live where the neighborhood ain't good. Gentrification for sure.
Within 3 minutes, but you all were slammed with that. A good response. All right. That's really me there.